Speaker, my question is for the Minister of Finance. What reports has he received on the economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, this morning the Reserve Bank issued its monetary policy statement, which held the official cash rate unchanged at 2.5%. The bank noted the economy has performed more strongly this year than it forecast in its June statement. Despite weaker growth among our trading partners, this reflects stronger terms of trade, providing stimulus to households and businesses, and rising consumer and business confidence. Overall, the bank expects real economic growth to average about 3% over the next 4 years, helped by the earthquake rebuild in Canterbury.
Chris Auchinvole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, what is the Reserve Bank's assessment of the global economic outlook?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the bank has said that while the domestic economy has been surprisingly robust, global financial risks continue to intensify. In particular, the economic outlook for New Zealand's trading partners has deteriorated markedly since June. Revised data for the US shows its recession was deeper than previously thought, and growth has slowed in the UK, Germany and France. Despite these risks, export prices are expected to remain relatively high, supporting incomes and boosting GDP and job growth in New Zealand.
Chris Auchinvole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, what steps has the government taken to address the risks identified by the Reserve Bank?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, the main risk identified by the Reserve Bank today was New Zealand's vulnerability to the uncertainty and volatility around events in Europe. One of the most important steps that the government has taken is to plan to reduce our vulnerability to foreign lenders. And in that respect, turning around 2008 forecasts of never-ending budget deficits and permanently rising debts was important. We expect now to be one of only a handful of developed countries headed back towards surplus over the next few years, at which point we will be able to start repaying debt.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister, is the Reserve Bank's current forecast that growth will peak at 3.5% next year, compared to his budget projection of above 4%, a sign that once again he has overpromised and under-delivered on economic growth?
The Honourable Bill English.
No, Mr. Speaker. I mean, the Reserve Bank has changed its expectations of the profile of growth, but hasn't really changed its expectations of the total amount of growth. So they expect that with the problems in Europe and a downturn in our trading partners, we'll have a slightly lower peak in growth in 2012-13, but it's not a serious shift.
Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr. Speaker, in that case, given that economic output per person is still 2% below where it was when he took office, despite the recession ending over 2 years ago, can he name another New Zealand government that it has had a weaker record on economic growth than this one?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, I can name another New Zealand government that maybe without intending to, but certainly did wreck the economic engine of this economy, which is the export sector, and that was the previous Labor government. It left, despite the best economic conditions in a generation, it left the economy in a mess, and it's going to take us a few years to clean it up.
Mr. Speaker, I seek
point of order,
leave to table a graph showing the economic graph records of successive New Zealand governments. That's the current one.
The source of the document?
Parliamentary Library, Mr. Speaker.
It's prepared by the Parliamentary Library. Thank you. Leave us to table that document. Is there any objection? There is objection. Question number 4, the Honourable Sir Roger Douglas.